You will hear two psychology students, Chloe and Sam, discussing the methodology for their upcoming memory experiment. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 25.
Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 25.
Okay, Sam, we need to map out the exact steps for our memory experiment before we submit the proposal to Dr. Aris. Let's start with participant selection.
Right. We agreed on recruiting 50 university students, right? I was thinking we should make sure we have an equal number of men and women.
Actually, Dr. Aris said gender isn't a crucial variable for this specific test, but what is absolutely necessary is checking their background. We have to ensure they have a clean medical history. If someone has a previous head injury, it could completely skew our results.
Good point. I'll add a screening question for that. Next is group allocation. We'll split the 50 students randomly.
Yes, 25 in the control group who will just sit in a quiet room, and 25 in what should we call the other group, the test group?
The academic term is the experimental group. Let's use that in the paperwork so it sounds professional.
Agreed. Now the actual testing phase. They'll be in the soundproof booths in the library. What exactly are we showing them on the monitors? Originally, we talked about a list of numbers.
I think numbers are too easy to memorize using patterns. How about words?
Words can be tricky if English isn't their first language. Let's go with visual stimuli. We can use a computer program to flash a series of random images on the screen for exactly 60 seconds.
Perfect. That eliminates the language barrier. Once the 60 seconds are up, how do we test their recall? Should we sit down and do a verbal interview with each one?
That would take way too long, and our own bias might influence their answers. We need something standardized. We should just have them fill out a digital questionnaire right there on the computer.
Makes sense. It's faster and the data goes straight into the system, which brings us to the final stage, analysis.
Right. We'll take all the raw scores from the questionnaires and run them through the SPSS statistical software. I'm hoping we don't just find a bunch of errors.
The software will filter out the errors. What we are really looking for is to see if the software highlights any significant patterns between how the two groups performed.
Exactly. Let's type this up.